Hey, it's Yolanda at DryerBuzz and, of course, 27 Answers. And this is the How to Create Buzz podcast. I think that's finally what we're going to call this thing. But it's where I look down my timeline, I go through my inbox, and I see all the questions, and I have to try to answer that one question that I get each and every day. And that's, hey, Yolanda, how do I create buzz? And so today I want to talk about how to create buzz after failure. We've talked about reputation. We've talked about, we've talked about so many things. These things are adding up. But I want to talk about failure in particular because there's a reason so many people think they have failed or that they're failing, or they get to this point and they feel like it's not working and what they're doing is not working. In fact, I just went back and rewatched the Red Table Talk where Jada was having a real hearty conversation with Tiffany Haddish. I just had one with a good girlfriend, and I was at the bookstore trying to pick up the book for the week for This Ain't That Book Club, and I came across a book of Leslie Odom talking about failing up. And I'm like, wait a minute. He had, of course, one of the most treasured roles in the phenomenon of Hamilton. But he also had that conversation about there's like really nowhere to go after Hamilton because Broadway and Hollywood and all these other things haven't really changed that much. And everything that's going on out in our world today, there's a lot telling us that we're not doing it right. It's very hard to wake up each and every day, even though the sun comes up. You know, and that's the thing that keeps me going. It's like that sun keep coming through that window, right? And I've realized, wait, take a breath. Oh, wait, I've been given another day to do this thing that I love again. And I'm just like you. I get to a point where I feel like I haven't reached or haven't done this or haven't done that. And failure, I think failure, and I'm really trying to identify it. I think failure speaks to a fear because you can't imagine yourself having failed if you weren't concerned about reaching somebody else's expectation or even our own. But then who sets those expectations? I've gotten to the point of where I want to say I haven't necessarily failed at anything, because the good thing is anything I've ever wanted to do, I tried it all, right? And even I sit back and I said, well, those outcomes didn't come out. But I'm like, but whose outcomes were they? Who set the outcomes? Who set the tone? Who set the bar? Yeah, there are certain levels that we need to reach. I was listening to a report the other day about a particular country, and it was talking about, well, half the people were below the poverty line in this particular country. But I'm like, well, if half the people are below the poverty line, why is that the line? Because clearly that's not how the country is functioning. Maybe we ought to move the line. Is it easy to move the line? Okay, because clearly this country can't sustain this bar that they have set. Now, it wasn't even talking about America. But how do you create buzz after failure? First of all, I don't want you to see it as failure, and I don't want to tell you how to overcome failure because I don't think you actually failed. If you did not get the outcomes that you can get, I can tell you how to create buzz with that. Speak it, speak on it, say it, share it, use it. I went to a series, I think over the last 5 years, every time I went to a networking or a conference, there was always somebody to say they had it all and they lost it all. And now they were on stage talking about how they lost it all and they were trying to build it back, you know. And I'm like, wait a minute, okay. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't want you to consider yourself having failed. But if you went down a road or you tried something and so forth and you didn't get the outcomes, first thing I want you to do is to ask yourself openly and honestly, were those your outcomes? Did you set that bar, right? To create buzz with it. I'm creating buzz with failure right now. I'm doing a podcast on just talking about it. Talking about it is one thing. I know for me, what I thought was failure was simply fear because I had to step away from this, right? My mind was nowhere clear enough to sit down and pump out 9 minutes of anything. And therefore, I felt like I was failing But even in that, I stopped to say, and I stopped to learn, or the universe put it right in front of me. The success of it was, even though I had to step away for a number of years, okay, the minute I stepped back into, the universe showed me, oh, the opportunities are still there. The opportunity is still knocking. The talent is still there. The gift is still there. The thing that I was given is still there. So it wasn't actually failure. It was actually fear. Now, how am I going to create buzz with that? Doing this podcast and then engaging in the conversation that's going to come after that. Maybe finding out there is an audience out there. Maybe that, that team grind, team no sleep, people who are at the brink, over the edge. The other day I was riding down the highway and kind of find out a lot of us really deal with this on the road. We're not just distracted with our phones. We're not just distracted with social media. A lot of us are distracted while driving on the highway because that's the only quiet time we get. That's the only alone time that we get. Right? And then you get to your destination. Have you ever gotten to your destination and wonder how you got there? Because you're so much on your mind, so much you were thinking about, so much that you were doing when you should have been just simply paying attention to the road. But that's all the time you get because you're on 24/7 every waking hour. You're dealing with fires, putting out fires, dealing with problems, trying to meet expectations that you don't even get to set for yourself. How do you create buzz with it? Listen, go back and look. Stop what you're doing. Look at your expectations, your goals for the day. Did you set that bar? Who set the bar? Because unless you honestly and absolutely set that bar, you haven't failed. You won't fail. This is a life. It's a journey. You just keep going. There is no failure. There is no such thing as failure. I'm not going to argue with you about fear because people try to tell you fear ain't real. We all know fear is real. They like to say that fear is false evidence appearing real. No, fear is factual evidence appearing real because fear is real. But you have to also deal with the real. And that too comes back to the expectations. But how do you create buzz with it? Talk about it. There's clearly a lot of us out there dealing with this, especially when it comes to being an entrepreneur or an influencer. We've seen that the object is we need to start talking to one another. Not only talking, let's just stop. We don't need to start talking. We need to start listening. We need to start listening. I'm going to get ready to stop here so that I can listen to you. I want your feedback. But how do you create buzz with it? There is an audience for it. There is an audience for it. There are a number of people that need help. Perhaps in what you consider failure, scratch out failure and put experience. Maybe you just don't know the words for it. It's not failure. It's experience. Share that experience with somebody else. Let your hindsight become somebody's foresight. Go out there, put a title on it, make it a book, an ebook, make it a podcast, make it a video. Start talking about it. Make it a workshop. Make it a talk. Get on the TED Talk. I don't know. Just talk about it. It's not failure. It's just simply an experience. You tried it. Hey, how about we let you try it be something good instead of something bad? You tried it. I tried it. And I didn't fail at it. It was an experience, a lot of lessons from it. And at some point one day I may laugh at a lot of this stuff. But right now, I'm just going to simply continue to create buzz with it, open it up a new lane, a new audience. I don't know. All I know is I got to talk about it because I got to tell you how to create buzz with it. I just told you, well, you should be drafting out what you're going to load to Amazon about it right now. You got some failures. You got some experiences. You got plenty of reasons to create buzz. You want more? All you got to do is follow me. Just follow the podcast. Filter this entire internet. Just use the hashtag 27 answers.